Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. There was a man who woke up every single morning with the same heavy feeling sitting on his chest. Before his eyes were even fully open, stress had already found him. His alarm would ring, and instead of feeling rested, he felt defeated. It had been like this for years. His mornings were not peaceful. They were battles. The moment he woke up, his mind flooded with worries about money, work, unfinished goals, and the quiet fear that his life was slipping away without meaning. He would lie in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about how different his life looked compared to what he once imagined. As a child, he had dreams full of color and excitement. He believed he would do something big, something that mattered. But now, every morning felt gray. He dragged himself out of bed, went through the same routine, and walked into a day that felt like a copy of the one before it. At work, he smiled when he had to, but inside he felt empty. He watched the clock more than he watched his tasks. Every hour felt long. Every conversation felt forced. When he returned home, he was too tired to chase any dream or learn anything new. He told himself he would start tomorrow. Tomorrow he would exercise. Tomorrow he would read. Tomorrow he would change. But tomorrow kept moving further away. Years passed in this quiet cycle. The misery was not loud or dramatic. It was soft and constant, like a background noise that never stopped. He stopped expecting excitement from life. He told himself this was just how adulthood worked. People wake up tired, go to jobs they don't love, and repeat the pattern until retirement. Accepting this idea made his days easier to survive, but it also made his spirit feel smaller. One night, after an especially exhausting day, he sat alone in his dimly lit room. His phone battery was dead, the television was off, and for once there was silence. In that silence, he felt the full weight of his unhappiness. He realized he could not remember the last time he felt genuinely excited to wake up. That thought scared him more than anything else. He walked to the bathroom, splashed cold water on his face, and looked into the mirror. The person staring back at him looked older than he expected. His eyes were dull, and his shoulders slumped forward as if carrying invisible weight. In that moment, a quiet question formed in his mind. He asked himself if he wanted to feel like this for the rest of his life. The answer came instantly. No. But knowing he did not want this life and knowing how to change it were two very different things. He felt stuck. He had tried big plans before. He had downloaded productivity apps, bought expensive planners, and promised himself complete transformations. Each time, the excitement lasted a few days before fading. He returned to his old habits, feeling even more disappointed than before. That night, instead of making another grand promise, he did something simple. He sat on the edge of his bed and decided that the next morning, he would wake up just 5 minutes earlier. Not an hour. Not a dramatic sunrise routine. Just 5 minutes. He told himself those 5 minutes would belong only to him. When his alarm rang the next morning, his first instinct was to hit snooze. His body felt heavy, and his mind whispered that 5 minutes would not make any difference. But he remembered his reflection in the mirror and forced himself to sit up. He shuffled to a chair by the window and sat quietly. At first, those 5 minutes felt awkward. He did not know what to do. His thoughts raced as usual. But instead of reaching for his phone, he closed his eyes and focused on his breathing. He inhaled slowly and exhaled just as slowly. For the first time in years, his morning did not start with noise. It started with stillness. During those 5 minutes, something subtle shifted. His problems did not disappear. His job was the same. His responsibilities were unchanged. But his mind felt slightly clearer, like a fog had lifted just enough to see a few steps ahead. When he stood up to begin his day, he noticed a small sense of calm following him. The next morning, he repeated the ritual. 5 minutes of quiet breathing by the window. Again, it felt simple and almost insignificant. But he kept going. Day after day, those 5 minutes became a tiny island of peace in the middle of his busy life. After a week, he started using those minutes to ask himself one question. What is one small thing I can do today to improve my life? The key word was small. Some days the answer was to drink more water. Other days it was to take a short walk after dinner or to read a few pages of a book. These actions were not dramatic. They did not require massive effort. But they were consistent. Each day, he completed the one small task he had chosen in the morning. With every completed promise, his confidence grew. He began to trust himself again. Weeks turned into months. His 5-minute ritual slowly expanded. Without forcing it, he found himself waking up 10 minutes earlier, then 15. He added gentle stretching to his mornings. He wrote a few lines in a notebook about what he was grateful for. These habits stacked on top of each other like bricks, building a foundation he had never had before. The biggest change was not in his schedule but in his mindset. He stopped seeing his life as a giant problem he had to fix all at once. Instead, he saw it as a series of small choices he could improve one by one. This perspective removed the overwhelming pressure that had paralyzed him for years. At work, he started applying the same principle. Instead of feeling crushed by large projects, he broke them into simple steps. He focused on completing one task at a time. His productivity improved, and with it came a quiet sense of pride. His co-workers noticed his new energy. Conversations became easier. Smiles felt more genuine. Outside of work, he began exploring interests he had abandoned long ago. He spent a few minutes each evening learning a skill he had always been curious about. Progress was slow, but it was steady. Each small improvement reminded him that growth was possible at any stage of life. There were days when he slipped back into old habits. Some mornings he overslept. Some evenings he felt too tired to follow his plans. In the past, these moments would have convinced him to give up entirely. But now he treated them differently. He saw them as part of the process, not as failures. He returned to his 5 minutes whenever he felt lost. Those minutes were his anchor. They reminded him that change did not require perfection. It required persistence. Over time, his relationship with mornings transformed completely. He no longer woke up with dread. Instead, he woke up with curiosity about what the day might bring. The heavy feeling on his chest faded. In its place grew a quiet excitement, a sense that he was actively shaping his life instead of drifting through it. His friends began asking what had changed. They noticed he laughed more easily and spoke with greater confidence. He told them about his 5-minute ritual. Some were surprised that something so small could have such a powerful effect. But he knew the truth. Those 5 minutes were not just about breathing or planning. They were a daily reminder that he was in control of his choices. Years after that night in his dimly lit room, he looked back and barely recognized the person he used to be. His life was not perfect. He still faced challenges and stressful days. But he had built a system that supported him. He had learned how to reset his mind each morning and approach problems with patience. The most important lesson he discovered was that transformation rarely arrives in dramatic bursts. It grows quietly through repeated small actions. By honoring 5 minutes each day, he had rewritten the story of his life. He realized that misery had once felt permanent because he believed change required massive effort. That belief kept him stuck. When he shifted his focus to what he could do in a tiny window of time, he unlocked a door he did not know existed. Now, when his alarm rings, he sits by the window as sunlight slowly fills the room. He breathes deeply and feels gratitude for the journey that brought him here. He understands that every day is another opportunity to choose growth over comfort. If someone had told him years ago that 5 minutes could change his entire life, he would have laughed. He was searching for complex solutions to problems that required simple consistency. His story is a reminder that progress often begins with the smallest possible step. Each morning, as he finishes his ritual and prepares to step into the world, he carries a quiet confidence. He knows that no matter what challenges await him, he has the tools to face them. He has built a habit of self-awareness and intentional action. His life did not change overnight. It changed moment by moment, choice by choice. And it all started with a decision to claim 5 minutes for himself. So when you think about your own mornings, consider the power hidden in a small slice of time. Within those minutes lies the ability to reset your thoughts, set your intentions, and take control of your direction. You do not need grand gestures to transform your life. You need a starting point and the courage to return to it every day. The man who once woke up miserable now wakes up with purpose. His journey proves that even the longest seasons of unhappiness can end when you choose to act, however small that action may seem. 5 minutes became his turning point, his daily promise to himself that he was worth the effort. And as he steps forward into each new day, he carries a simple truth in his heart. Change is not found in waiting for the perfect moment. It is created by honoring the moments you already have.